Okay, so timer's going. We just watched 1917, which won Best Picture at the Golden Globe, surprisingly. Which we both weren't a fan of. With Sight Unseen, we both didn't like that it won. We didn't like that it was getting such Best Picture approval, I guess, ravings. It might win still. And I get the feeling that you still don't like that that's happening.
I don't.
What, you said that you didn't mind the movie, but it just didn't add anything to your day.
Like, I enjoyed watching it, and I felt like it was an experience. But at the same time, it was like I just told you earlier, felt like it was a video game. And, like, as much as I do play video games, they don't really add anything to the way that I think or how my day is going.
Okay. So I think I like this movie a lot, and I kind of want to defend it now, just because the existential question of even making a war movie, of why are we even doing this again when they've been done so masterfully before. And ultimately, if you're making a war movie, it's either this is a horrible thing to do, like Apocalypse Now or Saving Private Ryan, or the message is or just using war as a medium to sort of practice your technical skills, which is kind of what I feel Nolan did with Dunkirk. He more used war as a canvas than a thing to relay a message with. And I think this is more one that relays a message, while by being so intentional in terms of the technicality of it. Because I think the way it's shot, just to use that technology to make you to it's an indulgence to do the one shot thing. It's not completely necessary. It takes so much time and effort, I guess, and money probably, especially when you have like a cinematographer like Roger to set all the shots up when you could just cut to it. It takes a lot. So why do that? Partly maybe just because to do it, but also maybe because, so there's that scene where Schofield they're at the chair, they're about to go into that farm where the plane crashes, and right before they enter, he's telling, what's his name? Blake's brother, like, why, like, about his family, right? And he says, I hated coming home. Mm-hmm. And when I found out that I couldn't stay, I hated the idea of them not being able to. And then he stops.
Well, he said, I hated coming home because I would have to leave, and right, they may never see me again.
Okay, yeah. So just even teasing them with that kind of thing. But there's also, and when after the explosion in the mines, he had the option to go back and stay alive. Why doesn't he? I guess just to commit to Blake and the mission and do that. But then there's also the possibility, I guess, of when Mark Strong's character says, make sure there's witnesses when you tell Mackenzie.
They just like the war.
Yeah. So is it possible that a part of him just likes the war?
Of course. I mean, he sold his ribbon.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he finds any meaning in it, but I think he's comfortable in it, which is why he's so good at it.
He's comfortable in the lack of meaning.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the thing. So why make another war movie? Let's just do it over the top. Let's throw every cinematic sort of innovation that we can at it. Just to get you so tired that by the end of it you won't want to watch another one, or you're sort of done. Like, it's almost a statement movie where I think it says to end on that card that says go home, basically, or come back home.
Oh.
Maybe as a genre, like, this movie is speaking to the genre, saying, okay,
we're done.
We did it.
Yeah.
Go home.
I think I think what you're saying is a good thing, but I think it's a great movie. Everything about it is, like, really brilliant. It's just, I think it's speaking to And I do have to see it compared to other nominees. I think it's just speaking to its own self, and it's speaking to its own viewers and its own genre, like what
it's
you said.
It's speaking to an audience that has already been spoken to.
Yeah.
Older white men who, I guess, are more connected to war, especially this kind, because it's just an American tradition almost to keep talking about war.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, I just think I liked how much fun it had with it, kind of.
It was genuinely fun to watch. Like, I was like, cool, this is really cool. And I think it itself knows that, like, no one will really watch it twice and enjoy it as much the second time. Because it's like an experience rather than a movie to watch and dissect.
I think, though, it feels so poetic, some of those images.
Mm-hmm.
There are literally parts where I wanted to print out what was on there. Or just, I could see it. Everybody says that you could see it framed on a museum, some of those shots.
Yeah.
Which I hope this one's cinematography.
It deserves it more than anything.
Honestly, I've never felt that way about a movie where every shot, just them from behind the back with from the beginning when they're going through the trench, just all the random faces around. I could see that in black and white, just a snapshot of that.
Yeah, like them themselves looked like they could be, like they were in the black and white pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
It was really cool, like how immersive it was.
But it went from that, it used that sort of traditional, like very much,
War.
It's a grounded war movie, like Path to Glory almost. But then it delves deep into that sort of like fucked up Apocalypse Now type imagery. I love, okay, well, first of all, just as soon as they get into No Man's Land, and you realize that when he puts his hand in the corpse, and you realize, this whole, you can't tell the difference between the corpse and the mud. And for a while I was like, is that mud or is that a skull? And then you just realize they're just walking on a whole corpse, which again could relate to speaking to the genre metaphor. Crossing No Man's Land, again, that's happened before in Paths of Glory. And when it first happened in Paths of Glory when Kubrick directed it, it was like huge and innovative, like we never seen that type of thing shot before. But now it's done again, and he's sort of walking on a dead genre, you know, or an overdone genre, just all these corpses, all this past or whatever. So it could relate to that, but also just in terms of imagery, it's just fucking frightening and it's hellish.
Yeah.
But it's still daytime.
It like really takes away how, because I feel like a lot of people now, they look at war and they're like, yeah, I'd be a soldier. I want to be shot from a helicopter and stand tall and like platoon.
Yeah. There's nothing glorious.
Yeah, like it is all horrible and like no one wants to go through it, and like he's not even going to be seen as a hero.
Yeah.
And it's not like anyone talks about him now when he literally did that.
Yeah.
And like no one talks about them. And it's just like the acceptance that,
well, it's just the thing, there's too many stories.
yeah.
There are too many horror stories in there. Because I think one part that I liked is when he gets picked up by, after Blake dies, and he gets picked up and he gets in that car and you hear them all joking around and stuff. And you realize, there are a ton of Blakes.
Yeah.
There are a ton of just soldiers that are he could have made friends with any of those and had that same relationship and gone through the same story with somebody else. So it's just, that's the thing, the randomness of it, how many faces you see and how many faces have a story, have their own horror story. Sort of, while telling this story, it also says it's not the only story and it's not that important, the way he's treated even by Mackenzie when he says just fuck off, Colonel.
Yeah. Like, no one's a hero.
Yeah. No one's a hero. You're just a hero to the people that are close to you, that matter.
Like the brother. The brother is the only person that will ever see that guy as a hero.
Right, yeah.
Everyone else just tells him to go away.
And I think that scene works. The humanity of it works really just because they paint on such a dark canvas, which is, it gets gothic even. Like when they're in that first part, Crossing No Man's Land, when they first go into the pool, the piano comes in for the score. I love that part. and they're sort of crossing the pool of like corpses and mud.
Yeah.
And then for a split second, you see a crow or a fucking raven just on the corpse. It's like,
Yeah.
this is Edgar Allan Poe shit. This is like cathedral gothic you see on a stained glass window almost.
I can't get over the scene where he wakes up after passing out or getting knocked out.
Okay.
And
yeah,
like
this is
the
what we're building up
redness.
to.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like as soon as I came on, I was like, wow. Like throughout the whole thing, I was in it. But like as soon as that shot was in, which is like towards the end, which is like kind of crazy to say.
Yeah.
But as soon as like that shot came in, I was like, it felt very, I don't know, I guess like more personal. And it felt less like a video game at that point.
When with the like burning cathedral thing.
Yeah.
When like church is on fire and all those values. Okay, so that's something.
Yeah.
Church is burning. Like a lot of wars with religion and stuff. That's the thing. The motivation is never clear, which is a good thing with war movies. Now they sort of understand that motivations aren't really a thing anymore. It just happens. So the church is burning. There's no one talks about money, and so but underneath the church, underneath the burning church, is actual solace, which is the French woman with the baby. The baby which isn't hers. It's just a baby that she saved out of her own volition.
Humanity.
She's kind of like him in that she's sort of on this mission that she's not tied to in any other way than I'm just gonna do this because I'm a human and humans should do this for other humans.
Like
who knows how long that baby's gonna survive?
Maybe a day. The level of humanity in the movie is like beautiful because a lot of the times in war movies you're just seeing these guys shooting people or dying, or in like Dunkirk dying together, and like you don't really see any kind of bond. But it's like this movie is almost telling you that like you're probably fucked up and like there are people that are better than you.
Yeah.
And it's like showing you what a human is.
It takes the same sort of idea of like the Wonder Woman type humanity and war. Like ultimately war is a fight for one's own humanity. Once you enter war, you're sort of it becomes more like a war in culture. It's like, are you gonna become Kurtz and lose yourself in it, or are you gonna remain a person, give all your food to the baby, give your friend some bread? That thing, it just feels a lot of biblical. That's the reason I would want to rewatch it. It felt biblical, a lot of it, especially like passing the bread.
The 9 Circles of Hell thing.
The 9 Circles of Hell, the very Dante, the images. That
like it was fueled. Like most war movies are fueled by the war itself, and like this one was like very much a metaphorical fuel.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like let's have these guys run through this thing. It felt like there was a meaning behind it, which is why it was fun to watch.
It feels like it was saying something, and maybe it wasn't saying something intentionally, but I feel like you could derive a lot from these images that you see. Just see, I don't know, just. You can't just have a crow on a corpse with 2 soldiers behind it and not have it mean something. It feels like intensely poetic.
And it's sadder if it really doesn't mean anything.
Oh yeah, that too. Which is the ultimate thing. Like in the end, you get to the point where just go home. There's nothing to see here. It was just all spectacle. And that's where I like the last shot that I really enjoyed is part of the burning church thing when he's running from the gunshots. And for a second, you see on the wall a circus poster.
Yeah.
Did you see that? And that just reminded me of Apocalypse Now with just the crazy lights going. It feels super psychedelic. It does feel like that's where it did feel kind of psychedelic, and I sort of got taken back to the sort of 60s type
feel.
Yeah. Where it's like, this is a response to
like it felt on the level that Apocalypse... Like, I love Apocalypse Now. It's genuinely one of my favorite movies, and it did feel like it was at that level. But I think we watched Parasite yesterday from when this is being recorded, and I think there was a mistake in that. But, like, it's not a mistake that we could tell, because all I really had in my head all day was Parasite, and all I have in my head tomorrow is Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite is a thrill ride intellectually and emotionally. This one's more thrill ride physically and emotionally.
Yeah, which is, like, really cool for a movie to be able to do that.
And we're more into the intellect. 15 minutes are up. No more time for 1917. If you want more, too bad.
Sorry.
Again, another hectic conversation. We're figuring out how to organize it, but it's been too long already. We're 14 seconds over. Bye.
We both liked it.